Growing up on one of the world's greatest lakes, my brother Alex and I have always had a connection to water.
Now we're out to discover how other people share our connection with water and coasts, and how they rely on that bond each and every day. We've come to Montreal, one of the world's top-ranked waterfront cities, and one of North America's most influential ports.
Montreal is the first stop on the St. Lawrence Seaway, the easiest route for goods to reach the heartland of North America, which is one of the many reasons why Montreal has flourished culturally and financially.
But the transportation of goods hasn't always been easy, primarily because of the rapids that surround the island of Montreal.
One way Montreal got around these rapids was building a canal through the city, a perfect place to begin the city's relationship with water. Today we wanted to go along the riverfront, and what better way to do it by using one of the beautiful bike paths here in the city. So we're off to go rent some bicycles.
And here we are.
They don't look very open, do they?
10 o'clock.
Does it look like it will be open? There's no way to actually see into the place.
I want to ride my bicycle.
We're probably the only people in Montreal this morning who are anxiously wanting to rent a bicycle.
We'll be cycling down the Lachine Canal. Midway down the canal, we're going to stop at Atwater Market for lunch. It's a market where farmers come to sell their goods, and it's a pretty cool place.
Looking to check out some cheeses.
Some fromageries. But we got to get our bikes.
Do you guys rent bikes all year round?
Rollerblades too. Rollerblades too.
No thanks.
No thanks.
Don't need that being filmed.
Can we come in? All right. Thanks. Look out, Montreal. We're gonna tear this city up.
More like fall in the river on a bicycle.
Whatever. Before heading off to the Lachine Canal, we're taking a quick ride through Montreal's Old Town.
Aboriginal peoples lived on the island of Montreal as far back as 4,000 years ago. But it wasn't until the early 17th century when Samuel de Champlain began the settlement here.
Many of the old buildings in Old Montreal date back to that period. The old world charm and proximity to the St. Lawrence still makes it a popular spot with locals.
Leaving the old town and heading to the entrance to the Lachine Canal, there's a noticeable change in surroundings. The old facades make way to silos and industrial buildings, and mark the beginning of the Lachine Canal along the boroughs of LaSalle, Sud-Est, and Lachine.
As early as 1689, there were plans to build a canal here. It was a way of allowing easy access around the Lachine Rapids and an easier route upriver to the Great Lakes. Today, the trails that follow the canal are used mostly for biking, walking, and running.
Construction didn't begin on the canal and its 7 locks until 1821. That's when an economic and industrial boom started in Montreal, mostly due to the access to shipping and the hydroelectric power the canal provided. By the end of the 19th century, Montreal's population had quadrupled, and working-class neighborhoods sprang up. Now the area is a mix of industrial and new development, highlighted by the Atwater Market.
You can find all the best foods from up and down the St. Lawrence here. It's these markets that really explain how important the cuisine and food from Quebec is to the people of Montreal.
The tastes and smells are not like any you'll find outside Quebec, and the cheeses, breads, and meats are some of the best anywhere. That might be nice. Can we taste a little bit? Thank you.
a sandwich with that?
Yes.
I asked 2 sandwiches. I like Montreal. I'm getting a better, like, I've been here before. It seems like people are more open to speak English, but I feel bad about that. I feel embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed by very little.
Why does it embarrass you?
After that sweet bike trip, my confidence is way up.
Oh.
I pulled some really sweet moves out there.
We'll have to see how the treads look once we get the bikes back.
Dude, they were bald when I got it. Pretty good sandwich, eh?
Ah. The Atwater Market knows how to make a sandwich.
Would you like one?
Yes, please.
I don't know what that was supposed to be.
That won't make it there.
You want to try that again? These taste like the candies that are supposed to taste like raspberries. Then you wonder, you're like, do they put raspberries in those candies or is it synthesized raspberries?
We're biking back to the shop and taking a different route. Montreal is a great biking city, but you'll likely want to stay on the paths. Montreal's drivers have a notorious reputation.
We need to drop the bikes off and get to another staple of the Montreal waterfront, and an icon of the city, Molson Brewery.
It was founded by John Molson in 1786 and is the second oldest company in Canada. It still sits on the same piece of land right next to the St. Lawrence, which provides the main ingredient for all the beer, after it's filtered, of course.
The guys at Molson were generous enough to give us a tour of the brewery and find out just what kind of impact beer making has on water consumption. Every person leaves a water footprint, and companies leave huge ones.
The brewery in Montreal requires water for more than just the beer. It uses it for cleaning bottles, cooling equipment, and pasteurizing the beer. Sitting on the banks of a major river, it would be easy to ignore water conservation. But even the St. Lawrence has shown signs of overusage. At Molson, a company that relies on it heavily, has realized the need for implementing smaller water footprints. To do this, Molson began a campaign to use 20% less water. When they started, to make 1 liter of beer, it took 5 liters of water. Their goal is to get that down to 4.
Seeing as they can't reduce the amount of water in a can of beer, this means using less in the manufacturing process. And when you're producing beer around the clock, that's a lot of water being saved. Now, there's no doubt that there are a lot of other areas of production and transportation that Molson can improve on in an environmental aspect. But the effort to change water habits, not only in Montreal, but at all its breweries, is a refreshing change in corporate mentality.
Almost as refreshing as the beer they make.
So this is the brewery. And the reason why we're here is because of the river. Like, the water is very important. So the 2 main cities in my life was because of the water. So Trois-Rivières is a nice place. And I love, I need water. I love to swim. I love to surf.
Have you done the Lachine rapids?
No, never been. No. I know there's surf lessons, and you can go online tonight. Maybe you can do that tomorrow.
I saw the ice forming on the a little bit of ice on the water this morning, so be a bit cool. But
Okay, thank you, Francois. Thank you for the beer, obviously.
Cheers, guys.
and the tour. Cheers.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah. Definitely worth it.
So far, I get used to this. A couple beers in, and we are ready to begin our Saturday night. From here, it's off to enjoy Montreal's nightlife.
We slept in a little after a late night, but we're off to check out another seaway. The Lachine Canal used to be the route of transport nearly a century ago, but as ships got bigger and the canal was unable to expand any further, the St. Lawrence Seaway became the dominant means of transport.
And we're going to check out how the massive ships go through the locks.
About 3,000 ships go through these locks per year. Big vessel that comes through here is about 880 trucks. So get 880 trucks times 3,000 off the roads, that's a whole lot of less congestion. It takes less fuel to transport these goods for 1 kilometer than it would on rail or trucking.
Similar to the Lachine Canal, the Seaway took years of jockeying to finally get built.
Initially, in the early 50s, the American government did not want to participate in this lock system, so the path was made from here to Lake Ontario in Canadian territory. A couple of years went by, and the Americans did hop on the train and have 2 locks west of here, actually.
The St. Laurent Lock is the first gate that makes up the network of locks that help ships efficiently navigate the St. Lawrence.
first lock out of a total of 15 locks. So gateway to the Great Lakes through this lock. Most people that live in Montreal do not know the seaway exists. They do get the benefits from less traffic. They do the economic benefits from all this weight and cargo in the port of Montreal. But overall, people see ships. They see them come by, get in, get out.
Yeah.
That's it.
What's the outlook in the future of the locks?
When it was built in the 50s, about 70% of the world fleet could come through the locks. Right now we're looking at 20%. Everything in the world is getting bigger and larger, but this is made out of concrete.
Yeah.
It will not be demolished and rebuilt. I presume if we were to proceed and look at 2060, what it would look like, you could actually build a power plant out of the lock system.
All right, thanks, Jack.
It was a pleasure.
We on our way.
We've seen Montreal from water level, so we're going to get a view from the city's most beautiful vantage point. And there is only one true way to get there.
As I always say, the best way to see Montreal is from the top of the mountain. So what we're going to do is we're going to climb the mountain, and we're going to get some great shots, and hopefully we can get to see the sun set over Montreal.
Let's do it. See you up there.
The top of Mont Royale is where everyone goes when they come to Montreal. It's a great place to see the stunning skyline and the St. Lawrence. From here we can appreciate the river's grandness. But with water levels dropping each year, the question is, how long can the city depend on the St. Lawrence? If a city of one of the world's major waterways is threatened, how will the cultures and economies of other coastal regions be affected? We've seen and experienced the relationship Montreal's have with the St. Lawrence. Now it's off to see how others live with water.
I think one thing would help us get around this city, a boat. I think a boat would be much easier.
Helicopter. Well, if I were to live here, it would be, I'd definitely have to find someone with a pleasure craft.
Yeah. It's too bad we came in November. There's no kayaking or anything. Places that, like the Atwater Market or other places in advance, there's like holes in the wall almost. I'm sure it's very popular. I know it's very popular. But you go in there and it's full of energy and people are just, seem very happy. It's a nice feeling.
Happy until we got there.